Good evening, good evening. Coming up on the show tonight, we're chatting about the fact that money apparently can't buy us love. That's according to some new research. To talk about this further, I'm pleased to say that a celebrity dating expert from Celebs Go Dating, Anna Williamson, joins us now. Anna, how are you today?
Oh, very, very well. I am feeling the love and I'm trying to help other people find love, but in a safe way where they don't get themselves in hideous amounts of debt.
So tell us about this new research then. What have we discovered and were you surprised by anything?
Well, it kind of did and it didn't. And it's sort of in the sense that, I'm obviously a dating expert, so I know a lot of this. However, I am always open to new research and it's so telling. And I've teamed up with Experian. And today, really exciting, we're launching my brand new podcast with them, the Cost of Loving podcast. Okay. It's all about just destigmatizing all of the myths around dating and finance and debt and money and really having a healthy, open conversation around Dosh, which we all need to be having, quite frankly, and we're not. But part of our research has unpacked, and I think this is absolutely shocking, quite frankly, that your average 18 to 35-year-old is racking up just shy of £2,500 worth of debt just from dating. I mean, that is crazy.
Now, when I was that age, I definitely wasn't spending anything like that.
Right, and nobody needs to. I say should. I don't like the word should, but we do have a problem, particularly with our Gen Zers. Particularly around this age group who are living up to these unrealistic expectations, perpetuated often from social media, but from their peers, and it's putting so much pressure on people in how they feel they should show up or present themselves, and that if they aren't sort of keeping up with their peers, so to speak, that they're going to somehow miss out on that love pool. And this is where it's a sort of a two-prong attack, really. We need to start being honest and open and transparent around this, because if so many people are living beyond their means, getting themselves in debt, paying for dates on credit cards, that is not firstly a good foundation for a relationship. You're going to get yourselves in all kinds of trouble. Your mental health is going to go down the pan, and there is not a lot of fun in starting a happy, healthy, loving relationship when you are in the trenches in debt.
But sometimes it's difficult to talk about things like our finances, especially with so much going on at the minute, like the cost of living crisis. Maybe somebody is experiencing financial difficulties. It's not easy to open that conversation, is it?
No, and we are, and I get it. I have a lot. I'm of the generation, as we all are, where we've been taught, let's not talk about money, it's vulgar. And it isn't a palatable topic, particularly as Brits. We do tend to be a lot more closed off about it, but it's not helping us. And I don't think we have to sit there and suddenly disclose to everybody what we're doing and what we're earning. But a level of transparency and empathy is very much needed and called for, because we are getting ourselves in lots and lots of trouble. And actually, to your point, in a weird way, I mean, no one's ever going to see the positives in a cost of living crisis, but actually, it has given us an opportunity to really play into the vulnerability that comes with. We are all affected, like we all are. Even if you are a high earner, you are still going to be really affected. Everybody is having to make decisions. The media is full of, we know it is so and so that lives next door. It isn't just that thing that happens to somebody over there. It is very much sadly in reach, and something that so many millions of us are living with. So therefore, we should have that conviction to be able to say, look, you know what, right now I'm having to be really careful with that. My finances are spreading to all the corners I need them to spread to. I'm loving dating, but I'm having to also be mindful of that when it comes to the kind of dates I'm going on. And you know what? If anyone is really worth their weight in gold, they, excuse the pun, they will appreciate and understand that very mature mentality.
Now, social media puts a lot of pressure on us as well, and I'm just reading here that 36% of men admitted that they actually browsed a potential date's social media profile to check if they could actually afford their lifestyle. That's crazy, isn't it?
Crazy. And the fact is, They're giving you their highlights. Social media is a highlight reel. It is not reality. It is, I don't sit there and post, me, sitting on the loo, sitting in my pajamas every 5 minutes. No one wants to see that, do they? But you know what? Of course, when I'm wearing a nice dress, I've got a bit of makeup on, and I'm at some bougie restaurant with a cocktail in my hand, I might pop it on Instagram. But that is not the life I live. That is not the lifestyle I can afford to live 24/7. And it's not the lifestyle, as much as I might like it, that my husband would, or I would afford myself to have. So it's important. We also look, social media due diligence is a thing, and we all do it, and that's accepted. It's fair games. It's part of just checking somebody out, right? To check if they're legit. But please don't be fooled by the filters that are surrounding social media, because people project and manifest through social media. But let me tell you, that person that's swanning around in their designer gear at this designer bar is probably, on the flip side, living in their parents' house in their spare bedroom. No shade on that. That's a very sensible thing to do, quite frankly. It's far too expensive to live by yourself, but that is not the reality. So we need to be really honest and be okay with owning that.
Now, what about when you're heading out on a date and it comes to paying the bill? Because we've discovered that 4 in 5 men will still always foot the bill on a date, but less than 1 in 5 women said that they prefer to pay. So what's your thoughts on paying the bill then?
Well, I'd say, look, I love a bit of chivalry. Why not? And I think there's a very fine line between, we're talking in heteronormative terms, so we need to be very clear that isn't across the board. And we have a brilliant gay couple on the podcast, actually, Cost of Loving, who are so brilliant around their wage gap, their wage expectations. But it's just about, again, I think it's about confronting the elephant in the room before you've even settled on what the date is going to be. Weave into that around your expectations and what you could afford. Throw it out there. Where should we meet? What do you fancy doing? I was suggesting this place or this place because it's around what my budget is at the moment. That way you're already setting that subtle bar. You're not making it awkward or vulgar with, I can't afford anything, or whatever. You're just saying, what about these options? It's around my budget. What are your thoughts? They will either agree, disagree, or offer up some of their own thoughts. And that way you can just have that hopefully unawkward conversation just whilst you're setting the time, the date, and the venue around your expectations. And you can weave in there. And a lot of people, there's a fabulous chartered accountant and social media finance expert on the podcast, and she's really, like, she will not let a date pay for her. She would like to pay for herself. So again, weaving that in early doors, I think, is really important. Just saying, look, you know what, I'm looking forward to meeting you. I like to look after myself. I like to have my own financial autonomy. So I'm just, checking in that's kind of along, that's cool with you. You're just having those conversations in a subtle way where you're confident to just say who you are without it feeling a bit too dictatorial or awkward.
Now, you've also put together some top tips for a healthy relationship, haven't you?
Well, yeah, I mean, my main top tips really is about transparency, if I'm honest with you. Transparency, honesty, trust, an interdependent relationship is what we should be striving for. That is a healthy relationship, a relationship that thrives outside of the couple, so has individual interests, needs, bank accounts, but then there is also then that couple time, which is just as important and just as protected, and a joint account as well. A lot of couples will go to as well. So striving for that will help to breed autonomy, individuality, but also togetherness as a couple, as long as you make sure you are honoring both. So I would say, look, we know that finances are difficult. We talk a lot about debt in our Cost of Loving podcast, but one thing is for sure, it's far better to be honest and transparent with your partner as early as you can, so they know the score. They can hopefully help you with it, with different options. Then the absolute no, you've gone too far down the road, they suddenly discover it. You can't get a mortgage because of the credit rating, because you owe money on this and that, and it gets you in all kinds of trouble. And this is what we're seeing too much concealed money, financial infidelity, it's called, and we talk about it on one of the episodes of the podcast. And it's really just saying, look, we get it. It's horrible to think about and talk about, but if you don't, that's where you're heading, and we don't want that to happen to you.
Tell us about Celebs Go Dating, because that must be so much fun to be involved with.
Oh, it's brilliant. I love it. Do you know, I've been doing that show now for about 7 years. It feels like a lifetime. It's such an honor to come back every time and to work with so many celebrities and hopefully try and make them better daters. And we have success with some.
And who's been your favourites?
Oh gosh, I love all of them. I mean, Pete Wicks was obviously a fan favorite and doesn't ever leave the agency. And I have to say, Alison Hammond is just an absolute dream come true. I mean, the most beautiful woman inside and out. And when we talk a lot about hoovers and radiators, people that either suck the energy out of you or pump it into you, and Alison is very much one of those people. When she walks in the room, she just radiates with warmth and sunniness and just makes your day a lot better. So yeah, I love that girl.
Anna, lovely talking to you. If people want to check out your podcast, where do they go to for that?
Yes, so it launches today. So quickly go and tune in. You can watch it on the Experian YouTube channel. So just head on over there or any of the major podcast platforms. If you just search for the Experian Cost of Loving podcast, and then you will find it. And the first step has launched today, and it's all about gender expectations around first dates and paying. So it might be very useful ahead of Valentine's Day.
Sounds amazing. Anna, good to see you.
You too, my friend. Thanks a lot.